Well, thank you guys so much for being willing to let me interview you guys. So obviously I know all about you guys, but can you just talk about yourselves, introduce yourself, and tell me a little bit about your family?
Yeah, so I'm Brittany,
I'm Alex.
and we have a baby girl, Freya. She's 7 months old.
And she's perfect. So, when you guys first found out that you were pregnant, what were your kind of initial thoughts, emotions that you guys were feeling when everything began?
So it's funny because I was the one that knew I was pregnant before Alex did. And it was like I had to keep that to myself for a few days. And the reason was I took a pregnancy test and saw that it was positive. And then it was going to be Alex's birthday at the end of the week. So I was like, oh, this would be a great birthday present. Right. And so I had to keep this secret for 48 hours. And during that time, it was like I was planning on how to tell him, right? Like I was making the dough for cinnamon rolls because it was going to be I was going to have buns in the oven when he wakes up in the
Oh,
morning. And I went and got this onesie and this card that I wrote him with the pregnancy tests wrapped up in it. So yeah, I knew before he did. And yeah, and then I don't know how you might have felt, Alex, when I told you, but
I was a mix of ecstatic, like over the moon, and then also really just deeply scared in a way that I'd never been scared before. Just
which
because
is
I
so
knew I was going
normal
to be
for dads.
responsible for this little life we were bringing into the world.
Yeah, that's so normal for dads to have all the mixtures because you get into protective mode over your babies. What was your biggest hopes and fears about giving birth and going through the process?
I think I just didn't want to die. That was the biggest thing. Because I had heard about so many different experiences that people have had. And I think a lot of portrayal of the birth process, especially in movies and media, is just totally not what it really is. But I didn't know that until I started learning more about how to have a safe birth. What does that mean to me? Having the support. So initially I was really concerned. I was like, oh, I just hope that this goes well. And then the more that I educated myself about it and the more that I ended up getting resources like yourself. So, taking birthing courses, hiring a doula, all of that really just made me feel very ready when the time did come.
Yeah. But what
Yeah.
was,
I mean,
yeah, go
obvious,
ahead.
biggest fears for me obviously were something happening to her, something being wrong with the baby, or requiring the NICU or something like that, right? Um,
Absolutely.
Nothing like that happened.
Thank God for
Biggest, you
that.
asked about biggest hopes as well, and I think we were hoping to, have a successful natural childbirth, but
Mhm.
things don't always go according to plan.
They don't. It's all part of the journey, though, and that's okay. What were kind of changing gears into our prenatal appointment? So we kind of obviously know why you were looking at having a doula for those same kind of fears, having additional support for labor. But what did you guys think when we were going through our prenatal appointments?
I felt like the prenatal appointments were very thorough. I mean, we had already we took it upon ourselves to take birthing classes. And I think there was a lot of reinforcement of the stuff that we were learning in the birthing classes after we hired you and you were going through, okay, this is how this happens. This is how I can support you. These are the things you need to look out for. And I feel like even if we didn't have the birthing classes, having you as a doula really educated us on all of these things related to prenatal, postpartum, what to experience, what to expect during your experience while you're pregnant. All of these things were really valuable. And I just felt like you were very knowledgeable and you helped answer a lot of questions that I feel like we would have had if we weren't educating ourselves through additional methods.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. And I'm really glad that they were super helpful for you. Are there ways that you were not expecting that the prenatal appointments were going to be helpful for you guys?
I don't think so. I mean,
I mean, I think we thought they were going to be helpful.
yeah, I mean, given the recommendation that we got for you, we figured that it was from a reputable source. We were in good hands, especially because it started with the recommendation from our birthing instructor. So we were already in good hands there.
Wonderful. Is there any appointment that we had or conversation prior to labor starting that stood out to you? Anything that you kind of carried into going into labor at all?
Oh, when to pack the bag. That was something that we talked about a lot. And I don't know, I am just the kind of person where it's just like I like to be ready before I know that I have to be ready, right? I'm one of those people that's kind of stay up at night thinking about things. And I remember packing my having like most of my bag packed or like really packed at like 21 weeks. And I was just like, okay, I'm ready to go if anything happens, right? Like here it is.
That ended up being the correct move. Like I was looking at you, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna wait until like a week before she's like due. And that was the wrong choice.
Because we ended up being
Came
induced.
early. So
We ended up being induced, 3 weeks before the date. So
Yup. Too funny. And we completed some of our appointments virtually and in person. Did you feel like that combination worked for you guys? Was there any did you prefer doing it virtually or did you prefer doing it in person?
I like the in-person visits, but yeah, virtually was also convenient. So
I mean, it was nice to put a face to the name to be able to meet you initially and have that appointment in person. I thought that was great. But yeah, the virtual appointments were really convenient. But yeah, I think everybody, like I know people are all over, but they should definitely meet you at least once just so they understand more about like who you are. And I feel like people are very different in person versus being behind a screen, right? So
Yep, totally agree. And then did you guys feel like you had enough support in between appointments that I was easy to access during that time?
yes. I mean, and I know I was primarily the one communicating with you until I went into labor and then Alex was the one. But yeah, no, it was great. And I really liked being able to chat with you like via text about really anything, right? If I had a concern or if, I was like, hey, here's how my appointment went, like just wanted to share that information with you. I feel like you're a very open and trusting person. So it felt very like, I don't know. Also, it just felt very natural, like getting to know you, it just felt like you were an old friend. So for me, it was very easy to continue to like kind of grow the relationship from that point.
And I agree. And now I'm glad that we are friends. And then as labor began, obviously you had the induction. Did you feel like you were prepared heading into it with all of the information that you would need for kind of what to expect?
I do. I do believe that I had all the information, but I don't think like the piece that Alex is going to talk about, I don't think this was your fault though. This is not your responsibility. This was on our doctor, I think.
I think maybe we like weren't super well prepared for like if things were to go like askew from like what we thought birth was going to be like, right? So we had this whole like Bradley method plan, like, okay, going to naturally go into labor and, work through everything that way. All of that kind of like, went off the rails like immediately with the induction.
Yeah.
She was hooked up to an IV and it's like, okay, well, now what? So we had to adapt a bit, but we didn't really know what to expect with like Pitocin or like, yeah, I guess Pitocin maybe was the big one.
And I feel like too, it wasn't, again, I don't think this was because, you didn't do your job as a doula. I think this was completely on the care team that we were working with. And they were a fantastic care team, don't get me wrong, but there were just certain things that I feel like that weren't in my birth plan that I didn't necessarily like know how to advocate for because I felt like it was very sneaky the way that they were kind of like putting stuff in there, right? Where it was just like, oh, well, we'll just like, we'll see how you progress during the induction and, maybe we'll take you off Pitocin, for example. I didn't think they had any intention of ever taking me off of Pitocin, right? I mean, even though they kind of said that. So it just kind of felt like there were certain things that happened that were not in your control that looking back on it, it was like, oh, I wish we would have like known more about how that process works from the medical side, right?
I will echo that. Like, I think you prepared us about as well as you could prepare
Yeah.
us.
No, I'm glad to hear that. And for those who would maybe listen to this and be kind of wondering, what was the reason that you guys were recommended to do the induction, just so that people know?
Yeah, I was at 36 weeks and started having nosebleeds, and they got pretty severe, and it was like one a day. And I went to the ER initially and they cauterized my nose. They thought it was due to the cold weather. But then as those nosebleeds continued throughout the week, and then I hit 37 weeks, which was, early full term, I went back in and they were like, no, this is due to high blood pressure, elevated blood pressure. I didn't have that reading when I came in initially. And so they talked to my OB and decided that the best thing to do would be induce. So I went from the emergency room essentially up to labor and delivery. And from that point, they put me on mifepristone, and then they put me on Pitocin to start to, have the contractions and whatnot. And so overall, that induction was about 42 hours. And it was definitely a long time. Now that I talk about it, it's different, right? But because when I was in it, I was just, oh, we're just doing it. And I mean, like, I'm really grateful for the support that I did have from you as a doula and Alex, because when we got to, maybe halfway through that, my water just broke. And then it was like at that point, the Pitocin seemed like really strong with the contractions. I felt like I don't know, I was just kind of like focused inward because everything was just like progressing so quickly. And I didn't feel like there was really an opportunity to kind of dial that back at that point because we were already getting ready to, well, I think maybe an hour after that, we were laboring down, right? I took
Yep.
what was it? I took an epidural nap, and so woke up and it was like, well, here we go. Like we're getting ready to push now. So, but yeah, everything kind of just happened so quickly, and I didn't feel like obviously I wasn't in the mental state to make decisions for myself about everything that was happening. But I do feel like, the care team, at least the nurses, were really trying to do their best. And I have nothing bad to say about the nurses. They were fantastic at Ascension. But yeah, there were just like little things that from the birth plan just started going awry. And then it was like, oh, they were like, oh, let's see your birth plan. And then eventually it was like nothing on there was being followed, right? From not having an IV to, not being able to essentially like go in the bath or whatever it is, because I had to be hooked up to baby monitors for them to make sure the heartbeat was all right. I don't know that you can think of.
Yeah, I mean, just to recap, it was because you were at risk of like developing
Yeah.
the, what's it called?
Preeclampsia.
The
Yeah.
hypertension, essentially.
Preeclampsia. Yeah.
And it was also like the week before Christmas. So I'm pretty sure our doctor had an agenda.
Maybe.
It's neither here nor there, right?
It's neither here nor there now, but you did get to have snuggle with your baby on Christmas. So we can, be thankful for that, even though we obviously know the birth plan didn't go to plan. And then it's more to circle back to you, Alex. Did you feel like as the partner, as the husband going into labor, that you felt prepared for kind of what to expect and kind of what your role was going to be during labor?
Yeah, definitely. And
Awesome.
it was thanks to you and thanks to, the other classes we took in preparation, but I felt very prepared. As she said already, you went over a lot of the stuff that we had learned in the class at that point, and that really just like reinforced it for me to expect.
Awesome. And then what was it like having a doula, so having me present during your labor?
Life saving?
Yeah,
I don't know.
we
I
have
mean, you
different
showed up.
perspectives on that.
You
Yeah.
showed up at the exact perfect time where I was like, oh man, I'm losing her a little bit. I don't know how to deal with this situation. That was exactly when you walked in the door. So, perfect.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I do have good timing like that.
Yeah, for me, when you got there, I was very happy too, because I felt like I wasn't super coherent, right? I was focusing inward, but then it was like, oh, you appeared, and I was like, oh, great, like Rebecca's here. And so like you can help me out with some stuff, right? And so it was really like it was nice to have you helping me out with the different positions and then reminding me like, hey, like drink water. Hey, like maybe try this. Like, oh, we can try some of these other things. Like, I mean, and I felt like you were really helping me work through a lot of the contractions, a lot of like I didn't really have too many mental blocks, but it was more physical. And I felt like you were just like, there is like, hey, just a reminder, like these are things that we can do, or hey, if there's something you need, or if there's something that, you're thinking about, whatever it is, like here, make sure you communicate with me. And I really appreciated all of that.
Is there any specific moment that you felt during labor especially supported?
Right after my water broke, when you showed up, and it was like these contractions were probably the most intense that I had experienced yet by far. And I remember just like being able to hold your hand or like hold on to you while these things were happening. And it was like, oh, getting emotional. It was like so wonderful to have that support from somebody who had gone through that process, because when it's your first time, you can't help but be a little scared and you don't know what's going to happen. But I felt like having you there and having you talk me through certain things and really working through it, like I felt like I could do it. And I don't know I would have done it, but to have that kind of support, it just made me feel so much stronger. Like, you know what? Yeah, I can do this. And it was incredible to have you there as my doula with that kind of support. Oh, sorry. I didn't around here.
I
So,
appreciate
that was a hard labor, like, oh my God.
And for those who might listen to this, like Brittany, I like have said it so many times to her since her birth, but like the way you just went so instinctual and primal during it, it was like absolutely beautiful to watch, especially for an induction in a hospital setting. Sometimes that can be so difficult for moms to really just trust their body, go with their instincts. When I walked in the room and I like always say this, and like she looked like just a goddess. Like she was in like running poses, her stances, like the breathing, like she was in it. And just absolutely amazing to witness. And you're gonna get me all emotional, but you were just amazing. Just overall, just an amazing person to witness and be present for the delivery of your baby, your sweet little girl.
Oh my gosh. Cry again. But no, I
All
mean,
the
it was
postpartum hormones.
it was so wonderful to just have you there. Like that's a special, we developed a special bond through that. And I like, man, I do think back on that, and I don't know, it just made me a stronger version of myself, being able to go through that and have that support. So thank you.
You are so, so very welcome. And then to you, Alex, in what ways did having me present support you during the labor?
I mean, I just think it was great to have you there as another set of hands and someone who's been through all this before, because I'm a first time dad as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just you were there and you knew how to like really like get to her when she was in her head. And that was something I kind of had trouble with in the moment. And you had these great little, tricks, after she got the epidural, like with the pulling with the sheet was a great idea.
Oh yeah, the little tug of war.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah,
fun.
sometimes when it's in a little funky position, that's a good one to kind of twerk them back into the spot we want. How do you guys think that the experience would have been different if I wasn't there?
Oh, I don't know. I don't like thinking about it.
Would have been rough.
Yeah, it would have
Would have
been
been a little
really
rougher
different. Yeah.
for sure. I'm glad you were there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think it would have gone as smoothly. I mean, everything just seemed to like, just progress. And it was like, okay, cool. We have you as support, and that's incredible. Like for me through the birth, and then for him as the partner, I don't think it would have gone as smoothly
I
if
mean,
you weren't there.
it's very possible you wouldn't have pushed your baby out.
Yeah, I could have had a C-section. Yeah, just given how things were shaking out at that point. Yeah, no, I don't like thinking about it. And I would just, my answer is we wouldn't, or we would just have you as our doula.
I love that. What would you use to describe just the overall birth experience?
Oh, powerful. So powerful, incredibly humbling. I mean, I've never gone through anything that was as intense. but I feel like I can do anything because of that. Like, women are incredible. I already knew this, but I mean, like, we are like superheroes. And I feel like being able to birth a child, bringing life into this world, that is superhuman. It's absolutely incredible. And so that whole process with like going through labor and delivering my kid and having her, it was like, and I say this jokingly, but serious, like, it was our first team sport, you know? It's our first team sport as a family. It was good.
It was exhausting. It was like a marathon. I've never run a
Yeah.
marathon, but I can imagine. Um, yeah, absolutely drained at the end. I don't think I've totally woken up since. I'm still exhausted. So,
She's still pretty young though, but she sleeps good for you guys. So
yeah.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
There's not enough sleep in the world.
I know. It's like I
So
nap when she naps and I'm still tired. Like, oh.
it'll be like that. So my kids are almost 4 and 2, so I still don't feel well rested. So it just continues, and I'm told by my parents that it continues long after you leave the house too. What surprised you guys most about working with me?
No,
Um,
I'm trying to think.
I think like,
Surprise.
I mean, oh, that's a good question. I feel like I knew what to expect from having a doula, but that's because I did my own research before, reaching out and believing that like, oh, this would be a really good resource for me. But I think what was surprising was just, I kind of touched on this before, how easy it was to just like talk to you and get to know you. Cause I thought that it would be something where it'd be kind of weird or difficult because it's like, oh, there's a very intimate thing that's happening with me and my body. And there's this person that's coming into this. And that's going to change the dynamic of just me and my partner going through this experience. But I believe it enhanced the experience versus, making it strange. It made it more comfortable. And so that surprised me.
Ditto that. That was blessed.
What would you guys tell another mom who's considering hiring a doula?
Just don't even think about it, just do it. It's totally worth it. But make sure you like them. I think that's important because if you have a support person that you don't really feel has your back, that can have a negative effect on the labor and delivery process. And so just make sure that like if you do have a doula, and you should, it's somebody that you really mesh with.
Hire Rebecca. No,
That's
There we
something
go.
I should have said right there. Yep, hire Rebecca.
That'll just take care of that.
Yep.
Is there anything that you guys would like any expecting parents to know, whether it's about working with myself, working with another doula, or just to know from your experience things that you would do differently or you're glad that you did throughout the entire experience?
If you're gonna use a bottle, check the nipple because sometimes it gets clogged, and we didn't know that. And we were trying to feed our newborn, and we're like, "What the heck is going on? Why is she's drinking out of the bottle? It's not coming out." It was the nipple. That's just a really short. But the other thing I was saying is, yeah, like you should definitely have a doula, even if it's just like after those first postpartum weeks, like the first couple weeks or whatever it is. You're not gonna know what day or it is, or if it's night or whatever, but you're gonna want to talk to somebody about it. And I think being able to have a doula that you can like talk to about that experience afterwards, even text, even if she's not the person that can help with what your issues are, she can direct you to the people that can. I think valuable.
Alex, you have anything to add to that?
I would say, okay, learn how to sleep on your back with your kid on your chest. It's a game changer. The newborn, you will get so much more sleep that way.
Someone will yell at me when I post this, but I am a huge proponent of co-sleeping. It is the only way that my husband and I have been able to get sleep, especially when you've got a sick baby and they can't breathe on their back at all. Learning to sleep with like having a pillow or being like slightly elevated and having a baby sleep chest to chest is a game changer. I feel like every parent does have to learn it. So 100% with that.
I don't want to
You're
be
funny.
liable for anything if it goes wrong, but
And we're
worked
not saying you
flawlessly.
should do it. We're just saying it worked for us.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your story. Thank you guys for being willing to just chat about this and hopefully giving other families the opportunity to see that hiring a doula can be super beneficial, whether it is me or it is any other amazing doula that is out there. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah. And thank you.
Thank you.